Hannah Imani, and welcome to The Flow. Today, I want to talk balance because I feel like currently in the season that I'm in, it has taken very intentional balance and just laying all that is required out of me on the table and just figuring out how I can navigate all of the different roles that I'm required to play while also not losing myself in the process. So, the last time we got together, I talked about new beginnings and I shared just a few things that have begun in my life, and it has been very exciting. I have been extremely happy, but in the midst of it, I have been having to change my routine. I've been having to balance my life in a way that I never thought that I would have had to, because previously I just had so much time to just be to myself and just give myself a lot of me. But now, just being in a relationship and having another job on top of my job on top of my business, and it's just been a lot just trying to figure out how to show up for each specific thing in a beneficial way, I guess you can say. um and I feel like it was important for me to just kind of figure out how to balance everything, because I didn't want to feel the overwhelmed. I didn't want to feel like I wasn't, making the most out of my days, or that one thing was taking up all of my time. But figuring out a way to understand that all of the different lanes that I'm in require a version of me, and just understanding that I have to be more intentional about this lane and this lane and this lane and that lane, and not trying to navigate all of the lanes all at one time. And that was actually some advice that was given to me previously, is when you're here or here or here, only focus on that thing as much as possible, instead of being here and focusing on there, or being there and focusing on here, and trying to just like think about and navigate everything all at one time. So I feel like it's very important, like I said, to take the time to just lay out on the table what all is required from you on a daily basis and on a weekly basis, and just overall, and just figure out how you can create balance in a way that is conducive for you and all of the things. So I feel like for me, again, like I said, what's been helping me is only focusing on one thing at one time, but also communicating in the different lanes that I have this going on. So what do we need to do? And then just with the job and the business, just understanding that all I can do is all that I can, and not beating myself up for maybe not getting everything done that I need to get done, or feeling like I'm tired, or feeling like I just don't have the wiggle room in my schedule to be able to do certain things that I may want to do. But just being realistic and understanding that the pressure sometimes that we feel is pressure that we put on ourselves, because we want to be able to do all of the things all of the time. But we have to understand that we can only take so much. So focus on doing the things that are priorities in that moment, and allow yourself to just breathe. Nothing is wrong with taking a nap. Nothing is wrong with saying that you'll do it tomorrow, as long as you're not getting in a season of procrastination or just not doing things at all. But just giving yourself the benefit of the doubt that sometimes you need a break. Sometimes you're not going to be able to do everything. Sometimes you're not going to be able to get around to all of the things that you may want to get around to. But just understanding that with more on your plate requires more discipline, and the more discipline you have, the more beneficial and the more successful you can be in showing up in all of those different lanes. And I feel like that's very important when considering relationships and businesses and jobs, and maybe even children and your personal care, is just being so disciplined that you don't lose yourself in the process. Because at the end of the day, we all desire and want all of these different things, but when they come into our lives, as I've shared previously, sometimes we begin to get overwhelmed, but not allowing that overwhelmed feeling to make us feel like we're not doing the right thing, or that we can't handle all that has been put onto our plates. But just understanding that this new season and all of these different things require a different version of you, and it requires more discipline, it requires intentional balance, and it requires you to change your system. Sometimes you're not going to be able to show up the way that you did in the past if you're in different lanes or doing different things. Sometimes you have to adjust and you have to change and you have to grow and develop in order to show up in a way that you can be successful and feel like you're accomplishing the different things that you may desire to accomplish. So I just want to say, balance is key, discipline is key, and just not being so hard on yourself. I feel like a lot of the pressure that I was feeling, again, was pressure that I was putting on myself because I'm a perfectionist, because I want to be able to do everything. But if you're being realistic, we only have 24 hours in a day, and we need to sleep for at least 8 to 9 of those. But a lot of the times we only sleeping for 5 and 6 hours, and you know that's okay sometimes. But just being intentional about giving yourself that care that you need, but also not trying to do too much. Even if life requires a lot from you, you still can pick and choose what is a priority, what needs to be done today, what needs to be done tomorrow. Just being intentional on how you're spreading out your time. When you have all of these different things on your plate, you can't just wake up in the morning and just go all willy-nilly and go with the flow within your day. You have to be very intentional about how you're spending your day, what your schedule looks like, creating a schedule, being intentional about setting time for yourself, setting time for your significant other, setting time for your business, setting time for your job or jobs and your businesses, and just sticking to that plan as best as possible so that you don't begin to feel like you're losing your mind. So I feel like that is honestly some of the best advice that I could give y'all when considering it, because personally I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm still navigating this whole balance thing when considering all of the different things that I have on my plate now. But I can say being intentional about my schedule, not being so hard on myself and putting unnecessary pressure on myself, and focusing on one thing at a time has helped me tremendously. But also communicating my needs to the people who are within these different lanes and roles with me, communicating my schedule and communicating when I'm feeling overwhelmed, communicating what I need, communicating what I don't have, or just all of the above. So just being intentional and going about it in a different way that you may have gone about other things has been very helpful for me. So hopefully it's helpful for y'all. And just understanding that new things and more on your plate is very much good, and a lot of us desire it and want it. But again, we have to show up in a different way, and that sometimes takes stretching, and stretching can be uncomfortable. So don't beat yourself up feeling when you begin to feel the pressure, but just understand that pressure makes diamonds, pressure makes the finest wine. So when you are in those seasons where it's a lot on your plate and you're feeling weighed down, just take deep breaths and know that everything that you have in front of you is everything that you need. So just be positive, be confident, and know that it'll get better with time, and you're not alone. Like, the pressure has definitely been on, but again, a lot of the times the pressure that we feel is pressure that we are creating ourselves.